psychiatrists, as training in psychiatrists, as healthcare professionals, to understand more about Robert's story, and in particular about his story through mental health challenges and treatment with psychedelic medicine. And so I think anytime you're with a psychiatrist and in front of a bunch of psychiatrists, it can seem a little overwhelming. And I think what's most important is we're just going to chat, and we're going to get to know you a little bit. And I think what's really important, because it's important for you guys to know that Robert wants his story known. He wants people to understand what he went through. He wants to share his story so that other people, in particular for athletes, can bust through the stigma for mental health, which is particularly strong for especially elite athletes. And then also, I mean, the kind of struggles that we deal with in terms of stigma all the time, but those in particular. And then specifically for treatment with psychedelic medicine, which is really on the precipice of new things in our world. So I'm just going to start out with getting to know you, because I know you're an Iowan. I'm an Iowan too.
Very proud of it.
Yeah? So tell me, so where'd you grow up?
So I grew up I grew up on a farm, but very small town, near a very small town in northeast Iowa called Masonville, Iowa. Population, I think 70 or 50. There's a church, a bar, and an elevator.
You, your family, and your extended family?
Yes, so my parents, I have 4 siblings. I have 2 older brothers, an older sister, and a younger brother. My parents farmed. My dad farmed full-time. My mom was a registered nurse for many years. And grew up, yes, the typical small town in Iowa. Graduated high school, 34 kids. The typical Iowa upbringing. If you're not from Iowa, it's a small town, work on the farm, do stuff as a family. I had a very, very good childhood, very good parents and siblings.
You would call it stable childhood.
Yes.
I would call it, and maybe I'm biased because I'm from Iowa, I would call it idyllic, right? So,
Absolutely.
so really, really idyllic. And what was school like for you? Did you like school?
I did. You know, all my siblings were athletes. So in my
Were your parents athletes?
high school athletes,
Yeah.
good high school athletes. Yep.
Yeah.
My dad went to the service after high school, fought in Vietnam. But both my parents were good athletes. We got good genetics. They're both tall. I'm the biggest of all of us, but my mom's 5'11". You know, my dad's 6'3". You know, so the genetic part of it.
Yeah. It's good for farming and athletics, right?
Exactly.
Crossover. Yeah.
But I liked school. I was good at it. When I was super brainy, I graduated high school with a 3.7, I believe. But it came pretty easy. I worked at it, but it wasn't, super hard for me. And in our family, I think it's just what it was. It was the culture of our family. My siblings had success in sports. All my siblings, older and younger, played college athletics. My oldest brother played at D3 football. My brother Nick played here.
You had examples ahead of you.
For
So
sure.
Your siblings were already doing this for you. So did you feel like when you were young, I'm going to be doing that too?
I did. I thought I wanted to, and I think it was expected. I don't think negatively. I think it was. My parents told me, you do sports or you come home and work on the farm. I'm doing sports. And so that was kind of the choice, and they pushed us to do everything, to do every sport. And then when I saw my siblings have success, I wanted to do it. My brother, second oldest brother Nick, came here, played for the University of Iowa football team. So I'm a middle school kid. I'm in the dorms with Jared DeVries and Tim Dwight, and these legends, and I'm this young kid, these people I idolized. And I was like, I want to do this, right? He comes home with all the gear and all the things that this university afforded him, on top of paying for his school. So yes, I wanted to. Then my sister came here. My sister's 6'3", was a state high jump champion for many years in high school. Came here and same thing. I'm like, I want to do that. So it was, it was something I strived for, and we used their example to try and emulate to see if I could make it.
Yeah. So you started football in high school. You said you played everything. That's one thing about a small town, right? You can play everything.
Yep. So junior high, we started football, and so it's seventh and eighth grade. But started all sports then. But I did. I played in high school. I played I played basketball. I ran track. Took my own horn, but I was second in state in the high jump my junior year. Jumped 6'5", still had school record at East Virginia High School.
It's okay
For the
to
high
toot
jump.
your own horn.
Right.
It's okay.
Played football, track. I ran. I was a good all-around athlete. I was 6'8", what I am now. 6'8", but 200 pounds, and just I could run, I could jump. I was an athlete. I got recruited as an athlete, but I also did. I sent VHS tapes. I sent to colleges because I saw my brother had success, and I was like, I want to go to college. I want to get a scholarship. So I made a VHS tape of mine. I wasn't a super phenom football player. I was just a good athlete, and sent it to schools, and so got an opportunity. I got a few scholarship offers, but ultimately chose to come to the University of Iowa.
What year was that when you came here?
1999.
Yeah. And then played with us for how many years?
So I redshirted in 1999, and then played the following 4 years, so 2000 to 2003.
Yeah. What was that experience like?
It was great. I came from, the world was so different back then. I was not a highly touted. They didn't have stars or rankings. I was a good athlete, but I was not some stud coming in that, I was a 6'8", 210-pound skinny white kid from Northeast Iowa. And so I came in with a chip on my shoulder. I wanted to be successful. My parents, the upbringing I had, was to do everything right, do it the right way. The example they led with. So I came in just wanted to be as good as I could be. It was a great experience here. My first year was Coach Ferentz's first year. So that was good coming with him. Chris Doyle was here, and as time went on in my career, it was a great experience. I just work hard and do things right is what my parents always told me, and it worked the same with Coach Ferentz and Coach Doyle. So
And that was a winning formula.
It was if you do, you'll get the stuff coming to you. My parents always told me that you will earn the stuff coming to you if you do it the right way. In high school, it's like your friends are drinking, they're doing this, they're doing this. If you want to be successful in football, you have to choose not to do those things. And I believed it. I wouldn't go do things because I want to get a scholarship. Like I knew what that could afford for me and the opportunity, and so I brought that attitude to here. And I was a young kid, and I just wanted to make the team and hopefully play, right? My first year as a redshirt. Came in, put on 50 pounds in a semester. Right? They told me, you need to be bigger. And then as the years went on, I had success, changed positions after my redshirt freshman year. Started out as a tight end, and then I outgrew that. They needed help, so I switched positions to offensive line. And then as time went on, just good coaching, good environment, and I developed. And by the end of my career, became
Extremely successful. This is the time to toot your horn.
Yeah.
You were extremely successful here.
It was, yes. Got every award there was. I won the Outland Trophy my senior year for the top offensive or defensive lineman in the country. So I was the best there was on either side of the football, on offensive or defensive line in the country. And so it was something I worked very hard at, and I still say I was not a natural. Just some guys are natural. Everyone works hard, but some guys are just natural freaks, right? There's guys that can get out of bed and go step on a football field, and look, that wasn't me. Doing steps in hallways, like everybody. There's things. I had 4 games. I would do steps in hallways to just go over my craft because I had to do it over and over and over to make myself successful.
Yeah, and you did that. And then went to the NFL.
I was drafted in 2004, the second overall pick to the Raiders. So for an offensive lineman, that's a big deal. I was the number 2 person taken in the entire draft. That's usually not an offensive lineman. So obviously a great experience, and then led to my pro career.
And how many years were you in?
I played 8 full years. I retired in my 9th year. Went to camp. I played 7 years with the Raiders. Went to New England. Signed a 3-year deal. Had some injuries. Got released by them. Signed with the Patriots. Went to camp, off-season and camp there, and then made the decision during camp for many reasons that we'll want to retire.
So let's start talking about that, because you presaged that, you prefaced that was starting to be. So my question to segue into that, because that was a lovely history. That's great, and it is. It's so very Iowan, and I love that the ethics and the work ethic, right? And that you did exactly, achieved everything because you worked hard. When did you first start having problems with mental health? And obviously, looking back sometimes, is different than when you're in it. But looking back, when would you say now? Because it sounded like, and I could be wrong, that early on, you weren't having problems. When did you feel like it started to be a problem for you?
Well, I think I'll start with, I think I learned about mental health my senior year of college. Because coming in, I didn't really know what mental health was, and I was just a guy, work hard, earn a starting spot, become a good player. I was a young kid, maybe too young and dumb probably to think of anything else, but it was just like, go to work. And then after my junior year, the coaches came to me and said, hey, you're playing really well. And I knew I was doing well, but I didn't think I was, I was on a good team, I had great teammates, and they said you could come out in the draft this year and probably be a top 10 pick. And I was blown away. Like, honest to God, I didn't have any clue. I didn't come to college thinking, I'm gonna go to the NFL. I was just trying to make it, right? I was trying to be as good as I could be in the moment. And so after that meeting, I was like, no, I need to finish school. Like, it was really not a choice or a discussion, because I'm like, no, I need to finish school. Again, my parents were like, get a degree. When you come out of this, get a degree. So I wanted to finish school, and I thought it could be better. So leading into my senior year, there was a lot of expectations that now they filled me in on, right? Because before I was just playing, and I was dominating as a junior, but didn't really, I knew I was doing well, but it was just part of the process. So as a senior, right now there's all this hype, and he could have come out, he's staying in school. And so that was the first introduction to mental health, because now I'm like, I gotta be perfect. Like, I'm this.
So the psychological pressure, so it was a big switch in your head. Like you said, you were just putting your head down and doing the game, and now it's all the national pressures, right? Questioning your decisions.
Right. Decisions and my worth, and oh, is he good? No, he's not good. He's this.
So what was that like emotionally?
It was tough at times. Luckily I was on a great team, and I did still played very well, but as an offensive lineman, so in a game typically there's 70 plays on average. Right? I could have a game where on film, and I look back at it now and I can say now, like, I would dominate for 69 of those 70 plays, like absolutely dominate. And there's a couple games in memory that I had one play versus Michigan State, right? We dominated that game. We ended up losing. Made a huge play. I chased a guy down across the field on an interception, made this freak athletic play for a 320-pound offensive lineman on an interception that everybody was talking about. But in that play, I had one play, I got my hands wide, I got bull rushed, got a holding call. And it ruined it for me for weeks. And I stewed on that because I watched film, and all I could see was that one negative play, 69 dominant plays.
You still know that play?
Oh, absolutely.
In your head.
So exactly what happened.
That play.
It did. I still have nightmares about it. That's still. So it's instances like that. And I was so hard on myself because now I have this national pressure. I put a ton of pressure on I didn't need any more pressure. I put enough pressure on myself. But I had national pressure, I think. And then it was things like that. Things would happen. And I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to be perfect. They're talking about me on ESPN or this or that. And I have to be perfect. And then the things that attributed my success, the mentality, the never good enough, that's when I felt it was negatively affecting me, because I'm like, oh, I have to be perfect. Like, where in the past I could work past that negative experience, and now it's affecting me for days and weeks and months.
So how did that play out? So it started, I can see where you're talking about where that switch in your mind and in pressure and in your own process, right? It started to get negative. How did it play out? Did it get worse?
It didn't. I think it stayed at that. It pushed me all year. It was, my senior year was, just being honest, it wasn't as fun. We were successful as a team. I won every award there was in the country. But it wasn't as fun because of that pressure, that added thought. It was like, I'm not good enough. Like that one play from 8 weeks ago still bothers me, and I'm still thinking about it.
Yeah.
But it played out good. We ended up finishing the year. We had a good year as a team. Like I said, won all the awards, go to the draft. So I don't think there was it was just the initial part of like knowing like, hey, I'm taking this too far. I'm not able to handle this emotion.
Yeah.
But I don't think there was a super negative effect from it.
Right. And I guess we might qualify that as, the psychological stress of fame, right? But there was a point when things went beyond that, and what I would call becoming sick with mental health issues.
Yes.
So when was that, and what was that like?
So I got drafted by the Raiders it's public knowledge, the Raiders have been an unstable organization for many years. So my tenure there, 7 years, I had 5 head coaches, multiple line coaches. It was not a stable environment. So that's tough. That's tough to win. That's tough to be successful as an individual. And my 3rd year in, I think it was when it really hit me. We had a new coach. They brought, again, Art Shell, Hall of Fame coach and player, had been retired. It was just a bad situation. It's called what it is. They brought Art Shell out of retirement from 20 years of not coaching. Our offensive coordinator was running a bed and breakfast for 20 years, right? And now you're coaching, we're getting coached by them in the National Football League, right? It's not a winning, Art Shell was a great player and a great coach 40 years ago. So that was a year I struggled. New coach, new line coach, do this different. I struggled, and that was when things really got bad. And I should say really bad. That's when they got bad.
So just started making you sick.
Right. And just the pressure and then the coping, right? So now I'm a guy that would enjoy some beers after a game, but it turned into, this was not me. It was on a Thursday night. I never drank on a Thursday. It was always after a game. Yes, I could go out and drink beers with my buddies. We were losing. We were 2-14 that year. But then it's like Thursday night, we go out, my wife and I go to dinner, and now I'm drinking 2 pitchers of beer, right? Just the coping mechanisms were negative coping mechanisms.
So you mentioned before, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but because you mentioned in high school that your parents were like, and your friends were like, I'm drinking, and you were. So was substance use something that you relied on heavily, or how much use did you have before that?
I think I was I enjoy, when I was of age, or maybe a little before in college, right, we'd go out after a game and we'd have some drinks. I was not a guy during the week going out. My problem was it was in excess, always. Right, so it could be once a month.
It'd be a binge when you did
Absolutely.
drink a lot.
Oh, always. Yeah. And it got worse and worse as time went on because it was my coping, right? It would make me, Now I can't sleep. 3-4 years into the league, can't sleep because of the pain. Sleeping pills don't work, so now I'm taking a bunch of Percocet to try and get me to go to sleep, and then drinking a bunch of booze on top. So it got to an unhealthy, but that's an athlete. Everything's in excess. I make an excuse, but that's how you become successful, and now this is a negative thing, but it's just.
So that pattern was kind of lifelong, but in general not problematic early on, but it certainly became. And what year was that when you would say, okay, this is now really?
2007. So that was my 3rd year, and then that's when that started happening. That's the first year I talked to a therapist. Right, I was struggling with the new coach and the new technique that they wanted me to do, and was not playing well. Was not working for me. I remember, finally my agent hooked me up with a sports psychologist. And sitting in the bathroom at training camp, hiding from everyone because I was embarrassed to be talking to somebody, trying to give me cues to work through.
Is that not something that others on the team were also? Or you just guys didn't talk about it?
Didn't talk about it. I'm sure others were.
Okay.
This is also 20 years ago.
But you were embarrassed by that.
I was.
But you engaged.
I did because I wanted to fix what was going on.
Yeah.
And so get through that year. That staff got fired. New coach comes in. Good coach, good line coach. Started having success. Got back to my level of play. We got back to one of the better top guys at my position in the league. Still not on a winning team. So I think I plateaued. That was just a tough year, right? I didn't know how to. I had 1 year. We had come here. We had success. And I dealt with this losing and then a bad year for myself personally. Got back to a good situation, playing well, still weren't winning. That wore on me. We do it. Everybody thinks, oh, you play in the NFL, it's great. No, it sucks. Just not to be frank, it sucks to lose. It's not you. Yes, it's great. You get paid. You don't do it strictly for the money. That doesn't bring you the joy, is what I should say. So that wore on me mentally. It was this year after year, and it's beat my head in. For what? We're never in the playoffs, right? This is the stuff that equates to success. And then as time went on, I noticed my mood, right? And I just thought I equated it to being an athlete, being a professional athlete. I get done with a game and, you know, my wife gets in the car and she should do what she did at games, sit with her girlfriends and the other wives and girlfriends and have some drinks and then get in the game. But I get in and she roll down the window and I lose it. Just like things would go off and I'm just like, it's just about the game. I'm pissed off because of the game, of how things went. We lost again.
So let me ask that. So when you say you had mood problems, so it was regulating your mood. So
Yes.
you would snap.
Yes.
And you would go from calm to rage.
Yes.
And that was kind of just a boiling pot at all times?
It was. I never knew. And as time went on, now I'm 6-7 years into the league. As time went on, the trigger was much quicker and much more intense, and for no reason.
And you couldn't control it?
Could not at all. I mean, I would go. I got to the point where I could feel like go dark. I give the example. We went out to dinner. My mother-in-law was in town. We went to dinner. This was during the season, so it was during the week. You know, I was angry all the time then anyway. But I'm like, no, I'm gonna go. My mother-in-law's here. We went to eat. We went to this restaurant. And we're like, we're gonna sit inside. Great. So walk in, see the lady that seats us. My wife's like, oh, the sun came out. Let's sit outside. And I remember switching like that. I remember going dark to where, I hate to say this because she's in here, I wanted to strangle her. Like I was so fucking angry, excuse my language. I was so angry at her. Why? I didn't know. So I'm aware of this stuff's going on, and that's one that sticks in my mind because I remember her mother looking at me like, what is wrong with him? She didn't live there, she lived in the Midwest, and so did see us a ton.
Yeah.
So it's just an example. It's things like that to where I'm aware that it's...
Yeah, and almost, so sometimes, you know, I see a lot of this, and I liken it to having a seizure, right? It's onset, and it's not you, and in the moment, they can't reach you. They cannot calm you down. They get physical, would you yell, scream, throw?
Never got physically touching them, thank God, my wife or my kids, but yes,
Yell,
breaking
scream.
things,
Yeah,
slapping the table, you know, yes.
yeah, and when you're big, that's scary.
Right, it was 320 pounds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so that started bubbling up more consistent, and that's still also mixed in with the alcohol still?
For sure.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd say it was under control. But yes, after games, I would cope
Yeah.
with losing and
Yeah.
my body feeling terrible
Yeah.
and the brain fog and like not being able to sleep.
Tell me about brain fog.
As the years went on, it was just this constant, it got worse and worse, especially in my later years, right? So the type of player I was a hard-nosed, I was not a finesse guy, right? I have a face mask at home because I wore the mask with the bar down the middle. I have 2 of them that it's bent in, right? A steel bar that got broken in. So I was a guy that I used my helmet and head as a weapon, right? Because that's how you shot guys, that's how you, for me, that's like, I'm gonna physically make you not wanna do this. And so as time went on, right, I got my bell rung thousands of times in college, right? But I didn't get my bell rung. It was in a concussion. It's like, yeah, it's all stars, that big deal. You know, and so as time went on in the league and I'm getting to year 6, 7, 8, these are happening a lot, right? To where I'm, whoa, like I'm okay, right? I'm not coming out, I'm also a tough guy.
So your reaction to them was different?
Yes, I was aware of them.
You couldn't tolerate them as well?
Absolutely not. It would last from, it started out at a few seconds to multiple seconds to my year in Seattle, like it was minutes.
I see.
And so I knew it, right? I was like, oh, this is bad. Like I cut a guy, I hit my head, and I'm staggering off the field. They're trying to take my helmet because this is now when the brain stuff is more well known in the league. If they take your helmet, you're done. And I had a knee injury, right? So my ego was involved that I'm not missing any more time. And the doctor grabbed my helmet to take it because I'm staggering like a drunk off the field. And you know, I'm like, it's my knee, right? It's ego, and it's just who I was. And I finally told him, I said, if you take my fucking helmet, I'm gonna kill you. Right? I was just enraged, and I'm talking to a doctor, right? By somebody I'm employed by, but I was dead serious. And I'm like, it's my knee. You don't know what you're doing. And finally, they let go. I went back in the game and played the rest of the game. But yes, they became more frequent and more intense. And then the brain fog was always this. My later years, I was always in this fog. I was like, I'm just tired. I played football for 15 years.
So was it your brain tired or your body tired or both? What is brain fog like?
It was, my body was tired, but I learned more about brain fog when I retired. So I go through that year in Seattle, I go to New England, I had 3 surgeries, 10 total by this time. I'm in training camp in New England, and just, mentally I'm done. I am, embarrassed to say it, but it's to the point where I was hoping I would rupture my Achilles or someone fall on my knee and blow my knee out so I could get done. So I wouldn't look like a coward and I retired, right? Because I'm only...
That's not embarrassing, but no, I see you were hoping for that.
I was, because I was like, if I choose to retire, I'm like, oh, I should have played, this is year 9, I should have played 12, or I should have, it's never enough. It's never enough when you're, for me it was never enough, and never will be. I probably could have played 20 years and I'd still be sitting here being like, I didn't play long enough, I was a failure. But I got to that point, and then when I retired, chose to retire because it was getting bad. I was abusing painkillers to practice, and then the fog and this, I physically couldn't do it. I wasn't the person I was. So I retired, chose to retire, and then after that's when I really noticed the brain fog. So it's now I'm every day, because before that I was going to work, right? I had to go to work, I had to lift, I had to do this, I had to play the game. It doesn't matter. No one cares if you don't feel good, right? It doesn't matter if you have a headache, right? Come Sunday, you go in, you get the Toradol shot, which I got for 8 years straight. Well, 7, I didn't get it my first year. Got a Toradol shot for every game, and 10 minutes later, I'm ready to go, right? Because there was games my last year in Seattle, and I was in Chicago, sitting in a bathtub in Chicago, full of boiling water, thinking, how in the hell am I going to play a game tomorrow? Literally, like, I don't know if I can do this. Physically, I had torn ab, I had 2 surgeries already that year, or 1 surgery, 2 following. So anyway, go get my Toradol shot, I'm great. So then I get done, and now all these symptoms, I'm sitting at home feeling these symptoms, right? I'm like, oh, I was just tired. Well, I'm not tired. It's just, the fog is like you're walking in a haze, right? And the ringing in my ears, so it's like right now I can hear the air conditioner running. I couldn't hear that before because it was just this ringing and then these hazy eyes. I always felt like I was half drunk or high, and it was constant. And it was, some days it was worse. I'd get to the point where I'm talking to my wife, I'm like, hey, where's she at? She's like, what are you talking about? Her. And I was talking about my kid. Hey, I couldn't remember her name. I couldn't get words out. I couldn't. So that's, to me, what I would describe brain fog as.
Start getting mental health help at that time?
After that, it was a few years. I thought I was just going through, an identity, losing my identity as an athlete. But then things started. On top of that, the brain fog, the mood swings. I mean, I thought I was self-diagnosing. I'm like, am I bipolar? Because I would just switch. Not that I can even tell you what bipolar is, but that just came into my head. I must be bipolar or something. But as time went on, then it was more and more things. The rage got worse. Then I started having suicide nightmares. Right, I would have a dream of committing suicide.
Suicide nightmares.
Yeah.
You would not think about that during the day?
That it turned to that.
Turned to that, but
Yep.
It started with
nightmares.
suicide nightmares, where you would have a nightmare where you would complete, okay? And then it became something that you thought about during the day.
Yeah, then it became ideation during the day, driving to the point where driving to my buddy's shop to help him, and the semi's coming, and I'm like, if I just make it look like an accident, I won't look like a coward,
And I assume at this point too, that mood is now not only like this, but low.
Yeah, because you treat your family, you treat your spouse, you have these things happen, or my kids are laughing and I'm sitting in chairs shaking because I want to hurt them because of their laughter enraged me so much, and now I feel like a piece of shit because I'm thinking this about my children. So it took me into the deepest lull there was, and now I'm better off gone. And so it turned into that ideation then to I don't want to be here. They will, in believing it, they would be better off with me not here, because I'm this guy sitting in a chair shaking my hands wondering if I'm doing something to my children because their laughter, right? Now let them spill milk or something and then see what happens, so it was just and I was aware of it. That was the hard part. I was aware of these reactions and things, but I couldn't stop them.
Did you ever do an attempt? Did you ever attempt?
I did not. I didn't ever do an attempt.
That's tough. I know.
But
You're in a safe space here, but I know I just touched on something that was really tough. Look at the black page. Yeah.
I did have a couple times I did have a pistol in my lap.
Okay. Yeah, you were close.
Because I thought it would make everything stop.
Yeah. When did you reach out for help? When was that where you finally reached out for help? And I assume you might have reached out for help first that wasn't all that effective. Is that true? I don't quite know the details, but I'm just assuming.
Yeah, it got to the point where we knew something was going on. I broke down in the morning. We used to work out in the morning, and I broke down in our driveway. I finally was like, I need help. I was crying in our driveway with my wife, and I was just like, I need fucking help. Like, I'm struggling. And I just blurted out all this stuff that was going on. I'm like, I have dreams about this. I'm thinking this is the answer. And she's like, I mean, she knew I was struggling, but she didn't know the dark stuff, because I'm like, I'm supposed to protect this house. I'm supposed to be, it was ego. I didn't, I'm the only one that has these problems, right? I never reached out to, I just isolated. And so that's when I reached out for help, and she said, all right, we'll figure it out. Happened to be, I reached out to a friend of mine at that point, who I know had gone through some mental health struggles. So that was helpful. And it just happened to be at that time I got a brain scan for my workers' comp case. I was going through that. Just happened to be around the same time, and I was very honest with the neurologist before the scan. And like, well, how much do you drink? Have you ever had thoughts about hurting yourself? And I was very honest, because I was in a bad place. And got the brain scan. The neurologist brought my wife and I in. Here's a healthy brain. Here's your brain. It was a SPECT scan at the time. Here's a brain. Here's your brain. All these things you talk about, the rage, the mood, all these things, like this is the part of the brain that controls it. Here's your brain. And it was a scan of mine, 3D scan, the color just mangled, like a baseball bat had been taken to the front, the side, the back. So for me, at that point, it was an instantly mood change too, right? She's crying, looking at it, I'm laughing, right? And she remembers, tells her all the time, she's like, what the fuck are you laughing at? That's where it's...
Why were you laughing? Was it a relief to you?
It was, because I was like...
Okay, there's a reason for this.
100%. That's why I said, I'm not losing my mind, I'm not crazy.
Okay.
And I said, that's why I'm laughing, because it's not my fault. Like, there's a reason. So, that's when I knew there was something going on, right? I mean, I knew something was going on, but I couldn't, as dumb as it sounds, I couldn't equate it to. Probably got brain damage from playing football for this many years. So from that point on, I asked the doctor, the neurologist at the time, I said, hey, what does this mean? Is it bad? Is it, have you seen worse? Is it worse? It's like, I've seen worse, but this is pretty bad, And I said, okay. And again, I switched from this like depressive to like, okay, there's hope, let's fix it, right? That's all in. I said, so what can I do? Or what happens from here? And this neurologist said, he's like, if you want the truth? And I said, yeah, because I gave him that too. I was kind of irritated, but I said, don't give me the bullshit, doctor. Like, tell me what's really going on. What does this mean? And he said, the reality is if you do nothing, you're going to be a statistic. Like, you're advanced enough, you have CTE. We can't say you have CTE until postmortem, we take your brain out. You have CTE, right? And if your symptoms are going to get worse and worse if you keep drinking, if you keep living the life, you don't get these other things fixed. Like, we had done blood work, your cortisol levels are 10 times what they should be, or all these different things. My hormones are all messed up because of the damage. So if you do nothing, you want the truth, you're going to be a statistic. And he's like, you know what that means? And I know what that means. So from that point on, I said, all right, well, let's fix it. Let's do the best we can. All right, so it was back to like, go to work. They hooked me up with a brain specialist. I started working with her. It was great. Started got my hormones figured out, like just supplements and taking IVs, light therapy.
So was the brain specialist a psychiatrist or a neurologist? What kind
She was a psychologist dealing with TBI, I believe.
Okay, so it's someone who is familiar with this.
TBI, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So anything they recommended, I did, right? So I switched back into like, all right, I'm gonna train, I'm gonna like, just my personality, how I was brought up, like I'm all in, right? I didn't quit drinking, I didn't drink as much, because I still like socially didn't like social. I couldn't be out functioning socially with. I say that, but that's what I'll always say. But it was hard for me to go to my kids' events, fundraisers and those things, and be sober. I got so anxious and dealing with all these demons, and so but I cut back the drinking a lot. They recommended like, hey, you're a guy that should be in a hyperbaric chamber. They've seen great stuff from this. So I rented one for a month, was in it 2 hours a day. Felt some relief, I could feel stuff working, so I ended up buying one. Just to get fun through the NFL. I was like, couldn't get into this fun and buy this. So I bought a hyperbaric chamber. So I was doing stuff daily, started working with therapists, they put me on, I said, I don't want to be on antidepressants. I don't, well, you're a guy that, some people need to be on them. This maybe it will help you, help curb, so I went on antidepressants and different things. And I did that for a year and a half. I kind of lived this life. I did everything I could, right? I couldn't tell you what it was, but I'm getting IVs, I'm getting all this stuff that helps stimulate brain growth and repair, and anything they threw at me, I did.
Okay. And it helps a little?
Very little. A little.
A little.
Yeah, fractionally. I got my sleep figured out, or not figured out, but I was able to actually go to sleep and stay asleep. And so I think there are certain aspects I changed, but it didn't change the nightmares. It didn't change the ideation during the day. I mean, it maybe it was, suicidal 5 days a week instead of 7. I mean, it was that, still not a way to live. It was.
So when did and you were good at doing everything they put in front of you. When did you find out about psychedelics? How did you find out about it? And then tell us about that journey.
Yeah. So I started listening to a lot of military podcasts during this time when I was struggling, because I could hear their stories. So there's one in particular, Team Never Quit. It's Marcus Luttrell, lone survivor Marcus Luttrell, has a podcast, and he'd have guys on and they're talking about their struggles. There are all these things these guys go through, a lot of military and civilian jobs, and in their growth out, right? The never quit story is what they called it. So I started listening to his, felt relief in that, right? When I was struggling, like, oh, these guys made it, this guy did it, right? He figured it out. He was where I was. He was dealing with TBI. He was dealing with alcoholism and rage and all these things. And then there was a guy on there, Marcus Capone, and Amber Capone, his wife. Marcus was a college football player, 13-year Navy SEAL, and he's talking, and I was living in the Bay Area at the time, had a cabin in Tahoe, Lake Tahoe. I'm driving up, I was giving my family a break from me, so I was driving up there by myself to get away for a few days, and I'm listening to it on the way up there, and I remember listening to it, and I'm listening to this guy Marcus talking. I'm like, that's me. Like I'm thinking I'm having a psychotic episode, because I'm in the radio talking. He's talking about TBI and rage and alcohol abuse and all these things, and I'm like, holy shit! I called back up, and I was like, yeah, listen, right? It's this mood change again. I'm like, yeah, listen to this. Like it's me. I'm talking on the radio. She's like, okay, I'll listen. No, you need to listen to it now. So I finished the podcast on my drive, and he got into his story. All these things happened. His wife didn't give up. He did all the stuff I did, right? All the other therapies, and then found psychedelic-assisted therapy with Ibogaine. And when did it, changed his life. He started a foundation. So he started Vet Solutions. Vets.org is their website. And anyway, so he's talking about it, and I'm like, so now mood change. I'm super happy. I'm like, I'm gonna call him. I'm gonna call these people. Maybe they'll call me back. I found something that's gonna fix me. She said, okay, we'll talk about it tomorrow. So I go get there that night, email their foundation thinking, okay, they're probably not gonna get back to me. Next day, two things. I believe it was the next day, Becca called me and she was in tears. And she's like, I listened to it, and yeah, it sounds like you. So we talked about that, and I said, I already reached out to them, hopefully they call me back. Fast forward, that day they called me, one of their employees, and then Marcus and Amber called me. I talked with them for on and off for a week, and so they're talking. Answer your question, this is when I was introduced to psychedelics. I smoked weed 3-4 times in my life, marijuana. I just made me feel sick. I tried it when I was struggling because ex-player, he was big into it. It helped him. I just didn't help me. I'd go to sleep or throw up. Just marijuana wasn't for me. So I'm hearing about the psychedelics and know nothing about it, right? Besides the DARE program that we all went through when we were in elementary school, and drugs are bad.
Right.
So I'm listening to it, and so I talked to them for about a week, and they're explaining all this stuff. And it's like, hey, there's all these things you can do. You can do a hyperbaric thing. I'll hold my beer. Like, here's what I've done. Like, I'm past that. And they could tell I was in he could tell I was in a place that it was last ditch effort for me. And I told him that. I was like, I need this to work. And he said, okay. So anyway, they informed me what it was, how they do ibogaine, they do 5-MeO DMT, what they do, what the effects they have on you. Okay, I'm in. He's like, well, hold on, Met with their doctors, and then he said, hey, I'm taking a group of veterans down, so they mainly take special ops or fund special ops guys to go. So we have a well-known group going here in 3 weeks. We have an empty spot. You would fit in great with this group if you want to. I was like, great, I'm in. He's like, okay, well, you need to talk to doctors, you need to. So I talked to their doctors.
When was this now? What time frame are we at?
This is 2021, early 2021. So 19 is when I got my brain scan, the year and a half of the other stuff.
Yeah.
Now I'm 21. So talked to the doctors in Mexico. Again, I'm like all in. She's like, wait, let's figure, what are you going to Mexico to do drugs? Now.
You said, yes, I am.
I did. I said, respectfully, I don't give a shit what you think. This is going to help me, or it was my last ditch effort, because I called my parents, right? Well, be careful. I said, Mom, Dad, I don't want your opinion. I'm just letting you know I love you. If I go to Mexico and die, I love you. I'm going to do this. Here's what it is. I don't want your opinion. My mom gave her opinion anyway. I said, I hear people walking off the roof when they're doing something. Okay, Mom. And it was in a loving way, right? Everyone else, but I had made my mind up, and no one changes it. So I talked to their doctors. They get in touch with my doctor, right? Ibogaine can counteract with SSRIs. And they're like, you have to be 2 weeks clean off of any medications. Now we're 2.5 weeks from when I'm supposed to go. Call my doctor. And I was like, hey, here's what it is. She was like you all, like, hey, I've heard about it. Obviously, I can't tell you to do it, but I think it's a good option for you. You've done all the other stuff. But I've got some concerns.
Yeah.
So talk to their doctor. Hey, so with ibogaine, which I don't know how much you know about ibogaine, but it can counteract and send you to cardiac arrest. So that you need to get off your antidepressant. That was a pretty high dose. So I asked my doctor, said, hey, how do I get off this? She's like, you can't, I'm going in 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks at this point. She's like, you can't, you are gonna have so many side effects getting off this. You have to taper off this. We gotta take months to get off this. And again, I'm just, as you can tell, I'm pretty frank about what I say it, but I said, is it gonna kill me? She's like, no, but you're gonna have so many side effects, you're gonna lose your mind. Like you're gonna have so many side effects coming off this.
We laugh at it.
Yeah. And I said, okay, so it's not gonna kill me? She's like, yes, but I'm not recommending what you do. I thought, I don't care what you think. Because my head was set, I'm going to this. Like I've talked to 5 military guys who have gone, and I'm like, holy cow, this is my answer. It was the first time I had hope in years. And so
So you withdrew off the meds.
I did. One day I took half of, she's like, well, do a half dose, I guess, for the 4 days. And I'm like, I took half, and I'm like, whatever. I just quit.
Yeah.
And I did. I had symptoms. I
bet you did. So,
Yeah.
and I'm just gonna. I don't mean to gloss over that.
Yeah.
I'm just wanting to make sure that we have time to get to the meat of the story,
Yes.
which is your experience and the effect.
Yes.
Right?
So
what was that like? And then how did it change your brain?
So I never experienced, obviously, psychedelics. I go down scared shitless because I'm like, I'm either gonna die down here. I'm in Mexico in a house with Mexican doctors, and it's just that, I'm not a world traveler, and we're going through Tijuana to this house. I'm like, oh, we're gonna get murdered, and or I'm gonna die on this medicine. But go down, like we're EKGs. It's very well set up. I knew this at that point. But go through the experience, go through the ibogaine, and notice some stuff as I start to go into the medicine, right? I'm feeling the things, I don't like it, I'm anxious, and they had coached us, right? We had therapists before, we were talking us through it as we're going. Fast forward, I get into the trip, but then I think fall asleep, pass out. It's a very long trip, 10, 12 hours. Wake up the next morning and instantly think, oh, I screwed this up too, it didn't work. Because I'm not recalling.
So you didn't. You falsely passed out, meaning in your mind, because you woke up, you didn't remember anything.
Right.
Really?
In the moment I did.
living.
So
I didn't know that part.
Yes,
Yeah,
so
we
it
did.
wasn't.
So we've talked before, but I don't remember that part. That's very interesting.
So yeah, and I think I was so sick. I woke up so like went to get up, and I'm like.
The next morning.
Now I started throwing up.
Because you're hungover, so to speak.
Yes, and I can't. I have to go to the bathroom. I can't. My legs won't work. I'm like, oh, I messed myself up. I did this drug, and now they put me in a wheelchair to get me to the bathroom.
Okay.
So I remember some stuff going into it, but I was so sick the next morning. I'm like, I messed this up too. This didn't work because I feel like I remembered stuff, but then I just went to sleep. I'm like, it didn't work. So fast forward, grade A, you're off. I couldn't function. I mean, throwing up all day. Felt terrible. I mean, I literally was just, I want to die. I'm like, I screwed myself up. I couldn't get up. I'm trying to walk, and my motor skills are off. Finally get through the day. I'm recalling things. Now now I don't feel so wretched that I'm like, oh, wait a minute. There's this, like, when I got into the trip, there was these lights, like.
So now you're recalling what you experienced.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm recalling, like, these lights, like I'm in the universe, flying through the universe, and all the stars and light show is going on. So stuff is coming back to me, and I'm like, so I'm journaling, but it's not super vivid. And then then I'm recalling, well, wait a minute, like I replayed all this stuff in my history, and then it was like, whoa, I remember now. Like there was a TV screen of this movie playing that kept going by me of things in my life, and I would grab like negative stuff, and throw it out in the universe, and then I would grab other stuff and throw it in my heart, good stuff that I want to keep.
Were you coached to do that?
I was not. The coaching was generic. It was like, hey, these are things that can happen, but they don't want to put stuff. They didn't want to put stuff in our mind of like, this is what's going to happen for you because it's different. But they said, hey, be open to it. Be curious if things are happening. Here's some things that can happen. Okay. Right? The buzzing, the buzzing at the start. That's going to happen.
But you are now about 48 hours afterwards.
Now I'm 24 hours afterwards.
24 hours,
yeah.
And starting to appreciate what that experience was.
Yes, yes, in a very small version of it.
Yeah. When did it become clearer that you were better?
Well, so fast forward, grade A, I began all night. Grade A, next morning up, I'm feeling better. And I'm like, and I'm recalling, like I'm journaling. I'm like, this memory, like, and I had a great childhood. My parents were not abusive. They were strict, but they were not abusive. So I'm not living through, like some of these veterans are talking about their terrible childhoods and sexual abuse and all this stuff. Didn't have that. Mine was like failure and football stuff and just who I'd become. Next morning, I'm recalling a ton, writing in my journal. Then we do 5-MeO-DMT. So then that experience is, to me, what brought it all together. So to do the 5-MeO-DMT, smoke it, I go out, I leave my body, and they had coached us of, hey, this is typically what happens. You can have ego loss, you can have, a lot of people die, some people die. So for me, it was, I died, I went to like,
you mean theoretically died? Okay.
Yes, yeah, experienced death.
Yeah, okay.
And I did, not my religious beliefs on you, but I went to my God, like I saw the white light, like, oh shit, I'm going to heaven, like this is it. Like I was out of body, like this is what dying is. This is it. And I pushed it too far again, and now I'm gone. But it was a very peaceful, I get to the white light, I get to like what I see is what's going to be heaven, and then God's there, my God's there, I'm screaming at God, telling him I'm a failure, I'm a terrible father, I'm a piece of shit, all this stuff, and send me to hell. And then he's like, you need to talk to her. And my wife was behind him, and I'm screaming at her. And then all of a sudden, I just feel this weight lifted off. Later, I equated it to my ego, but it was just this weight, and then this openness of like, oh, somebody just felt this love. I'm like, I do belong here, and it was just like this peacefulness. And in the trip, I'm like, oh, I'm dead. Like I deserve to be here. All right, I finally let go of all that shit, but I'm dead. I wish I could go tell my wife and kids about this. And then, they were gone out of the vision, and I'm by myself in this peaceful loving, and I'm just was like, we were so in love with myself, just like, and I actually loved because I hated myself before this. So come out of it, come out of the trip, and same thing. I'm like, oh my God, right? Like, I thought I died, like figuratively, and then that's when I noticed all the change. I was instantly afterwards. I was just like, I remember my eyes being so wide open, because I always was like this. I was just tired. Just like, you just look tired, because I was like the brain fog just always had me squinting. but I remember the noise and everything. I didn't have any ringing, I didn't have any of the brain fog, and I remember the birds in the grass, I could hear the...
But you're not intoxicated anymore?
No. No, this is 30 minutes, 40 minutes afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it was instantaneous?
Instantaneous. And to me, it brought it all together. So now I'm feeling all these emotions. I'm like, super happy to be alive. I'm hearing all these things. There's like, I'm super clear. I'm just, I was like this. It was, when I walked back in the room and the other guys that had gone, and everyone kind of snapped you out of the lull of the Ibogaine, or the beat you down, and it brought you back. And I just remember thinking, I was just so excited to like talk into, I was just happy. Like none of the constant wheel of negativity and bad thoughts and brain fog and ringing and all that, it was all gone. And I just remember walking around like super, everything was super sensitive. Then we go to the ocean. I took us on a walk over the ocean. I can see every single wave coming over, and I'm like, what is going on? Am I still high? And so from that point forward, come back to San Diego. My wife's down there. We stayed a couple days because they're talking about reintegration and how it can be. So I'm noticing little things. I'm like, there's no anxiety, there's no depression. I'm just happy. There's nothing going on in my head. Like I literally was just like, I'm supposed to be worrying about something. I'm worried about what I'm supposed to be worrying about, but I can't remember what I was supposed to worry about. And it was freeing. Like I was just like, we were just walking around San Diego, and I just felt like I was in La La Land. Came home shortly after that. So now we're noticing more things. Like I had a therapy session the second morning I was back. My computer wasn't linked to the internet, and my wife jumped up and grabbed the computer and took off running out the door, and I'm thinking, what the hell is going on? Right, her reaction, and I'm like, what's wrong with her? So I mess with my phone, and I'm 3 minutes late to the meeting, which in the past would have sent me into a rage because you're a terrible person if you're late to a meeting. I've never been late to anything, right? You get fined for being late in the NFL and in college. And normally the reaction would be catastrophic. And so she comes back in, and I'm on my phone on the meeting, and it's okay, it's good. And I'm like, what's going on? She said, what do you mean what's going on? You know how you would have reacted? So that's when we first started noticing things. And then just simple stuff that makes sense to no one but me and her. We went and got a cup of coffee, went for a walk, and I got a large, because that's what a man does. Big, burly, tattooed man with long hair, and you get large and you drink the whole thing. And I remember getting the coffee, right, the addiction side of things, and I remember getting it and drinking like this much of it, and we're walking, I'm like, you want this? And she's like, no, why? I'm like, I'm done. It's just something simple that means nothing to you guys, but I was like, oh wow. I don't have to be a man and drink, because I already had 10 cups, not that day, but other days I had 10. If you buy another one, you drink. It's just stupid macho mentality, or whatever it was in my brain, that you just do everything full bore. So started noticing things like that. Flew home, see my kids, and just she's better at telling the things she noticed. But it was, simple as, I remember the first day I'm home, my kids were laughing and giggling, right? Because I came in and they knew Dad was going getting treatment, and didn't go into it. They were younger at this time. Dad's different, so they're still walking on eggshells around me. And I remember they were, all of a sudden I'm on the floor tickling them and with their sweatshirts on and whipping them around the floor. Chaos that I did not like before, like with rage, or sit in my chair and shake because I wanted to hurt them. And I remember looking at my wife, and her mouth was wide open. She's standing there staring at me. I mean, I was causing hell, like throwing balls in the house and stuff that I would not let happen.
But joy.
Yes, absolute joy for me.
Yeah.
And
Chaos joy.
yes, and it was, so just things like that kept happening. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I'm different. And then she would have reactions to things. I'm like, hey, let's talk about this. Like, there's something going on.
Yeah, I'm sensitive to the time, and I'm gonna ask a couple more questions. And one of them is, that was 2021.
Yes.
Has this been sustained?
It's sustained, part of it sustained. I was in that cloud, they talked about that pink cloud for 3 months, nothing bothered me, no anxiety. Now I'm just a different human being. I'm talking to all the moms at pickup, I'm able to function in public, I take the kids to practice. Stuff started creeping back in, had anxiety for the first day, like 4 months in. Oh, what is that? It's okay, people get anxiety. Like, you're a little anxious because the kids we got 10 things to do. Fast forward a year and a half, stuff started creeping back in, right? I had my first suicide nightmare, I remember that. I got COVID, took whatever the pill was for the COVID, tastes like metal, wake up, hold my throat because I thought I had a gun in my mouth, right? So, not saying COVID and that medicine kicked it back in, but things started creeping back in. Got to the point, so now we're in 2023, things that, again, I was not as bad as I was, but I was suicidal thoughts again. I didn't feel worthy.
It was the same stuff.
It was.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe not as intense, but still intense. I mean,
Yeah.
my parents were out in December that year. I told them, say, hey, you guys were great parents. I'm trying really hard. If I screw up and kill myself, it's not your fault. Just said that to them while my son was getting a haircut, because I felt that. I was like, I'm gonna mess up. I'm trying. I am trying not to. Where before I was like, I'm gonna do this. This is how I take my problem away from everyone else. Go back that February, similar experience.
Same place.
Same place, different provider. They had switched providers. I went through the vets organization again, different provider. So no, not different place.
Okay.
Same area, but I went through the vets organization.
Ibogaine and DMT. Okay. Same process.
Same process, little more. We did some more pre-work. It was 5 days now. We're doing massage. We're doing Mexican sweat lodge. We're doing more pre-work.
And this was 2 years out.
2 years.
2 years out.
Go through Ibogaine, very similar experience. A lot of storytelling. 5-MeO, same thing, super sick. 5-MeO, this time 5-MeO was, I had gotten back to like, hey, I'm better, my family's better off without me. So I die, in the trip I die, and it wasn't suicide though. I mean, I got to the point where I was raging, so I'd get my Harley and drive 90 mile an hour down Lakeshore Boulevard to go to town, or get in a car and just see how fast I could go in, and I'd snap out of it, like these episodes, and then call her crying, like I don't know what I'm doing, so I killed myself. I think it was on my Harley. I saw the car, I saw my Harley, and anyway, in the trip I killed myself, and I saw what it did to my family in the trip. So I saw how it affected my kids and my wife. And to this point, I didn't think it would affect them. I just truly believe that. Like, they're better off. I am a mess. I am. It's going to get worse. What's next? Dementia, and they're going to be taking care of my whole life. They're fine. Like, here's all the stuff. Here's my retirement. Here's all the stuff. So I was in that mode again. So go through this trip, see what happened, come out of it. I started throwing up, literally throwing up. So I came out of the trip, I think, a little early, and I thought I was dead. I thought they were reviving me. I thought there was paddles on me. Like, so I'm half in the trip, half out, and I started raging. I grabbed the therapist, and I'm screaming. I'm like, I effed up. I killed myself. I screwed up my family, and I raged for like 20 minutes. I found this out later, like 20 minutes. And they learned how to deal with it, right? They dealt with Navy SEALs, but they were like, yeah, they kept saying, you didn't die, and I'd rage even more. And then they say, I love you, you're safe. Then I would like start crying. And so that was about 20 minutes. Finally, I literally thought I died. Like, I'm like, you guys are lying to me. Like, you revived me, because they were getting puke out of my mouth, and I thought they were doing chest pain. It was just, so I'm laying afterwards, and I'd gone through this experience, still thinking like, are you guys lying? I did ask them like an hour later, are you lying to me? Did you revive me? I died. I pushed it too far again, didn't I? Anyway, go through all that, finally get out of it. But the point is that for me, from that point on, like the rewiring for me is like anytime everything pops in, I never have had since then had a thought that I shouldn't be here, that my family's better off without me. Like, I can have a nightmare or something bad, I still have stuff.
And we're now 2 years out again.
We're 2 years out from the first one.
From
Oh, no.
the second one, right?
Well, we are now, yes.
We are now.
Yes.
Yes.
So that has gone away.
So, but just to the timeline, and like I said, timeline, because I know we're over. I appreciate everyone hanging with us, because it's dramatic. Because the first thing was difficult but instantaneous and sustained for a couple of years.
Yes.
And then the second one, and didn't get all the same symptomatology, but not as severe. Second treatment, and again, so far, 2 years of sustained.
Yes, but back up. So
Yeah.
in 23 when I went, I was scared. I was like, I waited too long. So when I was there in 23, I booked for 2024. I'm
Okay.
like, I was like, I'm a guy that has to do this every year.
Okay.
So did that. 24 comes on great. Like, none of the stuff's come back. I went again in 24.
Oh, you did? Even though you didn't have symptoms?
Right, because I'm like, you sign up, you do it. And it was my 2 military buddies. I'm like, and I went in therapy. I said, I'm here for growth and not for survival. For the first time. So I went again in 24.
Okay.
With zero symptoms had come back to that point, and it was just, to me, it was just growth. It was working on things.
Was it still helpful?
It definitely was.
It definitely was.
Right, but it also showed me to, like I say, the medicine talks to you, showed me in my 5-MeO trip, it was nothing. It was pure calm and peacefulness, and kind of told me, like, hey, you're good. You don't need to come back. Right? Same with the Ibogaine. Right? I mean,
Yeah.
hokey, woohoo.
Yeah.
Same with the Ibogaine. I got in the car, got back. It's public, because we've talked about it, so I was there all 3 times. Initial time I went, I became Marcus Luttrell. was there. So I listened to his podcast. We went to the same treatment together. I didn't know this until I showed up. He's become a very close friend. We both got in the car because we were supposed to stay the night in San Diego. And we both got in the car. I'm like, I'm going home. I want to see my kids. And he got in the car, and we both got in the car. And I'm like, I'm done. Like, the medicine told me that was enough. Like, enough's enough. In my visions and stuff during it was like, you're good. Like the 5-MeO was like this calmness. It was just the light. Like, you're good. There was nothing to work on. The Ibogaine was the same. It's like, right? Never say never, but it was, it's very physically demanding, and it kicked my ass for weeks. But I was like, that's what I took out of it. Like, no, you're good. You got this. And so since then, I've done other things. I do tune-up stuff with other medicines, other plant medicines, that aren't as physically taxing, but the routine and the things I learned through this whole process, right? I'm a very routine guy. I do breathing exercises, I meditate, all this stuff that I thought was woohoo and I had never done. Like now I get up in the morning, I get my cold tub, I'm very military still, very athletic.
So there's still other tools that you use to continue your well-being.
For sure.
It's both and, so those treatments and other tools.
For sure, I think it just bumped me ahead here, right? The brain fog, yes, do I get brain fog every now and then? Every now and then at 6 o'clock, I'm like, I'm just, like, it's back. Like, that's real life. Yeah. Right, but 99% of the time I'm not. I'm like, I'm good. I'm up at 4 a.m. 8 o'clock comes. I'm like, all right, let's time to go to bed. It's 8 o'clock. But I'm like, I'm great. None of that stuff I had before. I get symptoms every now and then, but it is for the most part like the deep depression, the suicide stuff. That stuff is not. Yeah, I've had days I'm bummed. There's days I have normal
ups and downs of emotions. Of
exactly.
life.
Yes, I've raised my voice, and my wife has said. And that, I then automatically go back to like, I'm sick, I'm messed up again. She's like, no, you should have raised your voice there, right? And that's what a normal person father does, right? Like, there was nothing over the top like he used to do. So it's told me like, hey, you're good. So there are those times, but yes, for the most part, I've learned other things to cope. Right? I can go into that trip breathing. I can do breathing exercises that, for me, I can take myself back into that trip to where I'm out of body.
So Robert, what I'm aware of is that you've completely bared your soul and told us about an incredible life story and the transformative experience that you had with everything, including the treatment with psychedelics. And so, most importantly, and I should have done this starting out, is thank you, right, for doing this. Thank you. This was not an easy thing. I learned a lot, even though we've and most people know that I'm studying psychedelics, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that this afternoon. But I just wanted to give you a really big thank you for that. That was incredibly eye-opening and transformative. I know we're a little bit late, and I don't want to keep people late, but I wanted to ask you, would it be okay if people asked you questions? I don't know if anyone has. Dr. Wemme.
That was an amazing story, thank you. I wonder, have you had a repeat PET SPEC scan? I wonder.
I have. I didn't for a long time because I didn't care. I knew I was better with my symptoms. And so since that time, I've become, through vets, they started working with Dr. Nolan Williams, who did a case study with 30 veterans. God rest his soul. He actually took his life here a couple weeks ago. Was a very good friend of mine. And so I learned through him. Long story short, yes, I did a SPEC scan about 8 months ago, but also learned through Dr. Nolan. He's like, the SPEC scan is great for seeing deficiencies, right? Where, because it's, you guys know better than me, it's, from how it's explained by the neurologist, and that neurologist at the Amen Clinic explained it to me, said, right, I had all this inflammatory markers and stuff with my depression, and everything was like, so making things brighter and certain areas looking like they're working, but I still had the damaged areas. With a SPEC scan, they're finding it's hard to measure growth from the psychedelics. Now, Dr. Nolan and all the tests they're doing now are fMRIs, so they can see, they're using fMRIs to really see deep, and that's where Dr. Nolan found, was able to tell the new white brain matter growth and the different things that how they're judging it. So the neurologist at the Amen Clinic told me, like, hey, we can't answer this. Like, we're bummed like you are, but we're learning with people like you. There's not many of you that have done the psychedelic. We don't see the improvement on a SPEC scan. Like, where you really want to get it from is an fMRI. I never had an fMRI. I'm going to get one at some point here just to see. But yes, it was, because again, it went back into my head, like, scan came back very similar, and I'm like, oh, so now I'm not fixed, right? So it's this whole
Yeah,
psychological,
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah. And we'll talk about it this afternoon, but we have that fMRI data here, and it's powerful, it's very powerful.
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah, sure.
What do you advise high school football players?
I think we're much more aware. My parents didn't, the world didn't know a lot about brain damage and safety. You know, my son's 10. Are we going to let him play football? Yes. But we're also very aware of what a concussion is, what the effects of a concussion can be. The whole tough guy thing can't play into effect. In my opinion, no disrespect to my parents, but that's they built me to be a tough guy. We didn't know about getting your bell rung. We thought you were just getting your bell rung. So I advise them to be smart. There's so much more study, right? Like I've worked with my old strength coach. You know, things have changed. You should be taking creatine, right? Like I have my kids taking creatine, right? There's different things for the brain that they're finding are very good. So you know, everyone's different, right? Tyler Sash played here, Iowa guy, played here 3 years in the league, ended up committing suicide, overdosing. Had more CTE than Junior Seau, who played 15 years in the league. So it's different for everyone. I'm not going to not tell my son he can't play, but if things start happening, we're definitely going to be on top of it and be aware of, like, hey, there's no tough guy. Dad was a tough guy and it almost killed him. Be aware of what these things can do. And it's also different for everybody. It's not going to happen. I tell him it's not going to happen to him because it happened to me. So that's kind of my advice. I learned so much from football, and I would, ridiculously, I'll go back and do the entire thing over again with the same results. I would, because it afforded me a lot of things. I grew up as a person. I learned a lot of things, and so I would do it. I would handle those instances different, but that's my advice.
Awesome. I think we're just going to have to stop there, just because I know that you guys are all busy. Thank you so very much.
Yeah, thank you all for allowing me to do this. So last and I'll let you out of here. I do this. It's hard to talk about, as you can tell. Like, I don't like bringing this stuff up in front of my wife. I don't like my kids read it. But the research that's been done and what you all are doing, right, for all this stuff, it's super helpful. I know tens, hundreds, thousands of vets who have done this that are different human beings. Some other guys here that reached out through my foundation have done it that are different human beings, and it is I want to break the stigma of, one, talking about mental health, and two, there are other things, nothing against doctors, but that stuff didn't work for me. And for me, luckily, I didn't stop until I found something that worked, and so that's why I want to be a big part of this, and I hope it helps you all moving forward with the research and everything, because it's, for me and many others, it's a life-saving thing, and just changed me as a human being, not only for my brain health, but who I am and how I see things. So thank you very much for what you do.
Yes.